Hi, it's Nikki from My Healthy Beginning. If you have been wondering what on earth is muscle testing, you have come to the right place. I'm going to talk a little bit about the methodologies I use here in my practice and some of the funny business you're going to see me doing with my hands when you are working with me one-on-one. So we use a couple different modalities in our office. I am trained first and foremost as a clinical master in nutrition response testing. So in nutrition response testing, when you're working with us in the office, you're going to see a lot of arm work. So here is your arm. I'll apply a little bit of pressure to this arm. Let me see. In brief, you're going to see a lock muscle and you're going to see an unlock muscle. So of course, I'm just doing this right now just to show you. But we could do, a sample partner and a follow-up video on how that works with a partner. So if I'm working with someone, but they will have their arm outstretched, I'll be applying a little bit of pressure, just right above the wrist, and you may see a locked muscle and you may see an unlocked muscle. Now, one of the things that people will say is, oh, if we see a lock muscle, that means yes, and we see an unlock muscle, that means no. It actually depends on the practitioner you're working with, and it depends on the question that's being asked of the body. So, and that may change ongoingly, unless your practitioner is wearing a microphone and narrating their way through the entire visit. There's no way for you to really track what's being asked and how the body's responding and whatnot. I always say the best thing to do is let that practitioner be an autopilot. When I'm an autopilot, I do my best work. When someone pumps in with a question or like, hey, you missed a step, or why are you doing this thing? Then I'm like, wait a minute, where am I? And I have to backpedal a little bit to get going again. But that's just how my brain works. Like I can have conversations when I am muscle testing and some people can't. And then there are times where when I am testing, I'll say like, hold on 1 second, I have to, use my brain. And I'll let you know, or I'll let the person I'm working with know that I just need a minute. So with nutrition response testing in particular, we are using a 13-step process, and we are starting with something called blocking and switching. So blocking basically is, what is the holdup? What is the barrier to your healing? What is the thing, Walmart receipt, okay, what is the thing that's in the way of your healing that we just can't find our way around ever? But if we identify that this thing is, say, citric acid, and we bring on a supplement to move that citric acid out of the way, now we can have that conversation. Now we can move your body onto that next layer of healing. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So we want to find, here's a block, assess, is there a block? Oh, there is a block. Let's find what it is. Oh, it's citric acid. Let's move it out of the body with a supplement to help detox, to help drain, to help increase lymphatic flow, to kill it off, to whatever it needs to do, and move it over here and slowly retrain the body to move in that direction. Little example on blocking. Switching, neurogenic switching basically is the thing that has your nervous system upside down. So what has your body or nervous system in a state of confusion? Why is it in a state of confusion? So again, we're identifying what's causing the state of confusion, identifying the helper to remove said state of confusion, and then training and repatterning you in your lifestyle choices and sometimes dietary restrictions and or eliminations and rotations, and increasing awareness along with mindset work to really bring about the healing and get that nervous system right side up so that you can heal appropriately. So the mindset work can come in. Sometimes we just use a supplement if that's what the person is interested in, and stress our brain is testing, and we will respond to that with, here's a supplement that's testing for the stress response you're having. Let's watch to see how this works. If that's not holding over time, or if someone actually does have an interest in and willing to be charged with handling their mental and emotional well-being, then we can set them up with some mindset work or some emotional work to move those things out of the way. With nutrition response testing, we handle blocking, we handle switching, and then we literally do a body scan. So if I'm the person on the table, I've got their lock muscle, so I apply a little pressure to the lock muscle, and I'm going to start checking on various areas of the body, and I'm looking for, say I have my hand on the thyroid, also on their lock, and they unlock. that tells me there's a problem going on with their thyroid. And I'm going to make a note of that. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to check heart. I'm going to check lungs. I'm going to check spleen, stomach, different areas of the colon, the reproductive organs, the adrenal glands, the kidneys. And at any time, while I have my other hand on an organ area, if this unlocks, I have an active organ area. So that's going to be something that I'm taking into focus as I move forward in working with that client. Now, that being said, I was trained as a nutrition response practitioner about 12 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, 12 years ago. But I've been muscle testing for 23 years. So 20 years ago, I learned with the arm how to muscle test at what was then known as the Twin Cities School of Massage and Bodywork. It's no longer open at the time. It had been the longest running and most comprehensive massage and bodywork program here in the Twin Cities. And I took a little 4-credit class on the side, and I learned how to muscle test. And I just use that occasionally in my bodywork practice. But I hadn't put 2 and 2 together to see that it was really something that I could use in our everyday lives, in asking questions of the body, right? So, it's appropriate for me to eat this apple today. It's, appropriate for me to move forward with this contract, right? You can ask yourself questions and get a muscle testing response or answer, or you can look to ask questions of the body of the client that you're working with at the time with muscle testing. So there are a variety of ways to use muscle testing. Some people use a sway test. So that's just, centering yourself and is the body swinging forward, back, or side to side. You will see some people using a lock muscle. I can do this on myself to test other people to work remotely, or some people say by surrogation or by proxy for the virtual telehealth and remote work that we do. For the Psych-K process, the mindset process that we do here in our office, we can either do that A, remotely, or B, we can do that with the person in the room, in which case we'll use probably this muscle test. Sometimes you will see people using a ring lock muscle test, like a lock or an unlock. Sometimes you'll see people doing like a flick, like a lock and an unlock, like if it doesn't work. And again, lock and unlock is relative to who the person is in the question they're asking. Okay, but there's always one or the other. Sometimes people will use, let me see, like this test, like that. So lock or unlock. Some people can use just their finger, like you can really use anything that gives a little friction. So some people can use their massage table and just rub their thumb across and get a lock or an unlock in regards to whatever they're asking the body. What else? There's so many. The one that I use, it's like an extension. Instead of using my arm and tiring out my shoulders, I will use my finger. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock. So this is the one I use most commonly in my practice. Sometimes I'll use an extension of an indirect, like assistant, to use an indirect tester in the office. But typically here in our office, you're going to see me arm outstretched, or you're going to see me lock, unlock. We even have practitioners who use, I don't have the appropriate pen in front of me, but they'll use a pen. So they get a lock and an unlock with a pen. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it's just a way to communicate. There's like, people learn a different language, right? So that they can understand people newly. This is the language that I speak, and that allows me to understand people's bodies newly, to listen to their bodies in a new way, to understand what's going on with them, to ask the appropriate questions, and ultimately to bring about healing both on the emotional and the physical level. If you are interested in muscle testing and you're interested in what on earth is going on with your body or what's holding up your healing, you can find us at myhealthybeginning.com, or you can give us a call at 612-418-3801.